So this is the information session for the Montana Field Seminar. And this is a program that has been running for, I think we're going to get into year 10 this year, or year 11. Anyway, it's been around for a while, and it's a very different law class. And so the way I do this introductory session is that I'm going to talk for not too long, maybe 15 minutes or so, and then I'm going to turn it over to this wonderful group in the back that were there last year. Because I'm going to show you a few slides, and yeah, now this is going to look so great and all that, but it might not be for you, or it might be. And I think the best way that you will gain that understanding is to, peer-to-peer, to talk to your folks, law students, MELP students that have been through the program and can give you a bird's eye view of what's going on there. And so this will be two parts. I will talk for a little while, I'll take a few questions, and then I'm going to just turn it over to these folks. This is totally unrehearsed, ad hoc presentation, including the first ever PPT for the Montana Field Seminar. So I'm going to turn the lights off there. Without a PPT and be at a lecture anymore. Professors do not know how to talk without a PPT. But I do want to show you a few slides for a couple of points. First of all, I will unabashedly say that we conduct this class in a really beautiful area. The class is mostly spent in the field with packs on, and we go into the wilds of Montana and Idaho, two different places, and it's really nice. And you probably maybe look at this, and this is my travel log here. Okay, this is my brochure. Come to Montana, but it would be a serious misconception to tell you that it's all just a beautiful let's go hike in the woods. And frankly, over the years, I have gotten people in the class that's what they think it is. So I'm here to tell you that it is not just a hike in the woods. In fact, hiking in the woods is just a means to an end here. And this is really what the class is about. It's about school. It's about class. It's about lectures. It's about presentations. And it's, at least I hope it is, a rigorous law class. Certainly available for MELPs. It's not, there's a lot of policy, a lot of, it's not like you need to have taken civil procedure and common law and all that stuff to understand the class, but it is an academic class first and foremost. And it has to be that way, otherwise you wouldn't get credit for it. And I'm always worried about the APA coming in someday and actually auditing the amount of class time. So I keep track, and believe me, they will tell you you spend a lot of time on your derrieres, hopefully with a camp chair, taking notes or being drilled about cases, or occasionally giving presentations. So yeah, once again, this is what the class is about. You must think, you must read, you will carry your materials with you, and we're gonna. In some ways, it's fairly traditional. We read cases, we read statutes, we talk about them, question about them, and so forth. And I just can't stress that enough, because you will see, this sort of thing. Oh, that looks cool. And it is, but this is another part of it to think about. Not only is it's academically demanding, but there are some physical demands. And I have an application process that I want to know about your outdoor experience. And the reason for that is it's a very somewhat arbitrary selection process based upon a combination of your professed interest in the subject area, your academic background, have you taken natural resources, that might help, to have some previous exposure, but it's not a prerequisite. And third, your level of real experience in the outdoors. This is not, Knowles. I'm not, even though I have a background in outdoor experiential education and worked as a guide and so forth. That's not what we're doing here. We're not teaching you how to go camping. You have to come with a certain level of skills and ability. And it's not like you have to, have climbed, the West Ridge of Everest to get into the class. But you do have had to have spent some time with a pack on your back camping outdoors. And it took me 3 or 4 years in my application process to understand that, some people equate camping with backpacking and being out of doors, and as long as, they're actually spending the night on the ground, it might be in a campground, with a ghetto blaster and a 12-pack. So that's the reason for this slide. It's not like, again, you don't have to be worried about, being able to scale cliffs or, cross raging rivers, but, there is a physical component of this. And it just makes it more fun if you've had some experience and that you show up in some semblance of fitness. But again, this is school, this is class. And so the classroom is unconventional because it's out of doors. And the educational theory that we have developed this class around on is experiential education, which I think really is, in some respects, where a lot of legal education needs to go. I mean, in traditional legal education, experiential education, is spending time in a courtroom, spending time with a client, with real world stuff. Well, this class is about public land management, national forest management, wilderness management, and I think that those concepts are best taught in the out of doors, where you can experience, this is what a clear cut looks like. This is, this is a roadless area that's not yet protected. Is it worth protecting? Does it have values that are important, and so forth? So, but again, it's class. It's classroom. It's just a different sort of classroom. So each day is structured in such a way that we will have class in the morning, we get up early, it's cold, have breakfast, have class for a couple, 3 hours, and then we'll go adventuring. And again, parts of this are optional, and sometimes people choose to stay at camp, but if you show up and you're in reasonably good shape and stuff, we can get into some places and have some experiences that I think are really fun. And this is a granite peak, and we actually climbed to the top of that this year, these folks. And yeah, you can bring a fishing pole, but this is not a fishing trip, okay? This is not, backpacking with your friends. I just can't emphasize that enough, that there is a serious academic component. But again, we do have the opportunity to do some things out west that, can enhance the reason why you want to take this class. I mean, look, you're going to have to get yourself to Montana, airplane ticket, or I guess we had a road trip last year. How many hours did it take you guys? 40. 40 hours in the car. You can do it that way. Probably save some money. There's some food and lodging costs. There's equipment costs and so forth. So there is some financial outlay that is part of the class, but there are some rewards I think that go along with that. But again, this is the modus operandi here. This is you will have time in addition to classroom time. We'll try to give a couple hours a day for reading the material for the next day. I think they'll tell you, more than one night in the tent with a headlamp, rather than sitting around the fire while some of us play guitar and maybe sip on a beverage, because you're going to get grilled, and your grade is in part dependent upon class participation. So you have to you have to be willing to put in the time. So the class takes place in session 4 of the summer session, and that's for those of you that will be, you don't have to be enrolled in the whole summer session. I definitely have had plenty of students that had some kind of summer job or some kind of internship, but the timing is determined by the school schedule here, and so Session 4 begins usually the last week in July. Do you know the date, Courtney?
Nope, but it is the last week of July.
Yeah, so it's usually the last week of July, first week of August, but if you're interested, you know, find out what the dates are, make sure they fit in with whatever summer requirements you have. I do it the 4th session because the weather is generally pretty good in the West in late July and early August. Pretty dependably blue sky and sunshine. We sometimes get some bad wind, but it's the most dependable time to be outdoors in my experience. Not sure why I put that in there. Okay, so this is last year's crew. It was just an awesome group. I was very proud to have them in the class. That we really covered some great terrain and developed, I think, a really solid group ethic, and that's part of it, and that's part of the commitment here. You know, this is not something where you can come out and think you're going to go, run off on your own for an afternoon or something. I really emphasize both for safety reasons and to I think there's a lot to be gained by by group dynamic, by learning to work together, by having to get up in the morning with people, sharing tents, sharing meals, and so forth. And so we are a unit, and pretty much from start to finish. So that is the end of my slides here. Did I embarrass anyone out there?
Not yet.
I got some pictures of it.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm happy to take some questions from you guys, and I'll do that for a little while, and I'm gonna bail out of here. So, yes.
What part of Montana are we in? What forest?
It's centered in Missoula, and we spend the first. Actually, the first part is in the Clearwater National Forest on the Montana-Idaho border. And then the second week of the class, we go down into the Bitterroot National Forest, which is south of Missoula. Yeah. And lodging is at the University of Montana dorms, unless you have a friend or some other place to stay. Yeah.
My question is more like eligibility for AJDs, because I know we have like an increased course load over the summer. So would that make any kind of difference towards this?
I don't know the answer to that. I would love to have you. I mean, I think I've had AJDs actually, but I don't know how your summer is structured and whether you could get a waiver if you needed to or something. It is for 3 credits, and so I think that was a change that helped people that need credits.
What about testing? At the end of the course, is there like a finals?
Oh, there is. So anyway, so the grade is based upon a final exam. It's a pretty traditional law school final, take home, that is due 3 weeks after the class. And I do that for 2 reasons. One, I don't want to grade papers in the last 2 weeks of August. And if people come all the way out to Montana, I think you should have an opportunity to see some of the West and so forth. So it's 3 weeks after the class is due. That's, I think, 80% of the grade, and 20 or 25% is based upon an in-class presentation that we would talk about beyond the syllabus and so forth that you would deal with.
In terms of the syllabus, what kind of content could we expect? Like what policies would we be focusing on?
Okay, good question. So the focus is on national forest management, and we cover history and policy. We'll start out reading. If you're taking natural resources, you would be reading some of the stuff you read on management of forest resources as background. And then, but we cover the Endangered Species Act in some detail, recreation management, wilderness management, fire policy. Those all factor pretty heavily into the class. Yeah,
So when do you have to apply, and then when do you like decide?
Yeah, that's really important. So we don't have an application deadline yet, but we will get one. It's usually around February 1st, March, February 1st.
Usually it'll go out in February, maybe late January it'll go out, and then it'll be due back end of February. We moved it up.
I think
I'd
we
say
moved it up,
mid-February. Yeah. So right after the holiday break, you'll see an email from me going out with a link to the application.
Yeah, and then, and so, yeah, mid-February, I think, we're trying to push it up so that people know. Yeah, the 12 is tops, you know, I'll take, that's just the number that we decided is a good unit. And so it's it is a competitive, not competitive, but it's selective in terms of the applicant pool has always been larger than the number of students. But here's a real, and so you apply, and you know, we turn around pretty quick and try to let people know so they can make their summer plans. And then you have to make a deposit that is non-refundable except for some truly serious medical or family or personal emergency.
And if you don't get accepted right at first, like I did not, people will often realize they can't make it for whatever reasons, and here's a wait list. So if you don't get it right away, you don't necessarily have to.
Yeah.
You know, there's still a chance.
Yeah, and but that's something that I really want to emphasize here. In the past, I've had, it's getting better, but I still have this, you know, students sort of want to hold their place, and they get selected, and they even put the deposit down, and they don't really think through, okay, how am I going to get out there? Where am I going to get the money for this whole thing? Do I really want to do this, and so forth? And then they bail, and then that causes problems for.
Well, it wasn't a problem for me.
No, you got it. You wanted to be fully qualified and stuff, and you know, with the person, can't remember when they bailed, but you know, sometimes it's like, you know, a week or two before the class, and then I can't fill the spot. So I just really encourage you to try to think through, ask questions. You can email me, talk to Courtney's been my right-hand person for I don't know how many years.
You still got to take me one of these years. I'm waiting to go.
Yeah.
So deposit, what is that for, like the credits, or does this class have extra costs in addition to getting your own plane ticket and buying your gear and all that?
The deposit is applied to your tuition or whatever. It's on an extra charge for the class. You have extra costs because the school does not cover your transportation and the dorm that you need to, I can explain, I'll let them explain the couple $100 just to have a base of operations there unless you know somebody to stay with. So.
I know there's a specific budget that you can borrow to live off of over the summer if you're taking classes, which is about $6,000 or so. How feasible is it to get that number increased to do this trip?
They did.
Yes.
Yeah, they gave you a $1,200 credit that you can take all of it or none of it or anything in between for this class specifically.
Great.
All right, well, like I said, I really want to turn this over to these folks and let them talk and listen, because I really think that they will communicate some information. And I will.
Those sticks come up there.
So, yeah, questions, whatever, please, you know, don't be shy.
Yeah. So I guess right now, one else, we're not really sure what our summer's going to look like. And obviously, we're kind of planning on internships, jobs, something like that. Did you guys have that going on? Or?
Yeah, I worked. Like I started work like the day after finals started, and I worked all the way up until like the end of the summer. And I think that's like that gives you enough time for internships. So I think that's 10 weeks, and then as soon as the class like started, like it worked out really well. Like you'll be able to get your 10 weeks in before an internship before class starts.
And I'm a joint degree student, so I'm a medal.
Okay.
I took a full load over the summer. I don't know if I would recommend. I took my final for my third term in the dorm the night before we left.
Yeah,
and it was bad. But if you want to do it, you know, it can be done, like I passed the class, it just was a lot of work, because also we drove out there.
Yeah.
But right now, you're gonna figure out what you wanna do before February, or, you know, you're gonna have a better understanding when the application is open. So I wouldn't worry about it too much now. If you know you wanna go, commit yourself, but it can be done. You can do internship, you can do classes, you know, it's manageable.
How much time do you spend in Missoula versus out in the field?
So it's the summer session, it's, you know, Monday through Thursday for the classes, and then we leave Monday, head out into the field, and we come back on Thursday. So like Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you can be in Missoula, or you can, you know, go to Glacier or do whatever, but I was in the dorm, you know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
But you do have a presentation in the second week,
Yeah.
so he encourages you to work on that over the weekend. But you do have some downtime. We went and visited some friends in Montana. You do get some downtime in between. You can go up to Glacier, down to Yellowstone. It just depends on your mobility and what you want to do. Yep.
What's the worst part about it?
Finals definitely tough. I think it's like, you think it's gonna be easier, like, oh, I'm in the woods and camping and learning all this really great stuff, but it's definitely, the finals tough, and especially kind of motivate yourself doing after like spending some time out in Montana.
Yeah.
You're like, do I want to be a lawyer anymore? Should I live out here and not do this final?
And kind of like piggybacking off that is a lot of, you know, the work out there, you do have to, you know, learn from experience. Print it out before you go to Montana. You can technically print it off like at Missoula, but it's going to cost you like X amount of cents per page. So print the full 2 weeks, you know, here before you go out there and have it ready to go.
It's like that much reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reading.
You don't have to bring all of it with you at once because you know the 2 weeks are split up, but it's still, you know, a good chunk of paper to bring out and, you know, have that prepared before you're leaving.
And it's not carrying it out that's the hard part. It's finding the time, because like you said, you would lecture sometimes 3 hours in the morning, and then you have a lecture at night too. So sometimes we'd be lecturing for 4 to 5 hours in a day, sometimes more. And each class, what would you guys say, like 70 pages you read, 60 pages for each day? And you're reading by headlight, you're reading in the morning, you have to find time to do it, and that is hard to do.
And he's gonna ask questions about it.
Yeah, you will.
It's not like a lecture hall where you can like avoid the questions, like you.
But it's completely worth it.
Yeah.
I told Tuholske I'm gonna fail so I can take it again.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Because you will learn.
But I didn't.
You tried though, didn't you?
Yeah, I definitely think it was like, I learned more in this class than I think a lot of
A
others.
lot less a lot fewer distractions out there. So.
How did it fit into, like, I guess your major or focus or whatever? Because, like, you know, I'm thinking energy, and obviously you can relate it to kind of land management, things like that, but how does that work in? Or doesn't it matter too much?
I mean, I think it covers a really, I definitely think if you want to get into like land management, it's like the class to take, but I think it really encompasses a lot of different aspects of the law and the environment, and I mean, it's definitely, I think it's just a great course to take. You get so much, it's not just land management, you get a lot of background and everything, so.
But it does only cover national forests.
Yeah.
So we're not going to talk about BLM land
No state forest really.
or state land or national parks.
But that, I mean, there's a lot that goes into national forests, like you were saying, the ESA, Wilderness Act. I mean, you do cover a lot of content,
NEVA.
but it is tailored to national forests, so.
Had any of you taken land use courses before?
No.
I took, over the summer, if you're a MELP or if you're a MERL, you know, you can take some courses over the summer. I had taken land conservation law and a few other courses that helped me prepare a little bit, because I didn't really have much of an environmental background.
Is there anyone here who's like just a master's student? Okay, that's what, so me and Caitlin here were the only people on the trip, I believe, that were just MELPs, yeah. So, but, you know, I was able to waive the land use or natural resource in some of these other classes because of my undergrad degree, and then during the summer you can take other things before it. So, like I said, I really never felt completely lost. I mean, it was definitely hard, but having if you're just with a master's degree, you know, there's a land use requirement, and having the certificate will help you get you into the class if you're going that route as well.
It's very similar to natural resource law, because I took that class with him online, and it's the same textbook.
Yeah, and there are no technical prerequisites, but it's like if you have like natural resource law, like that's a huge plus.
It'll help your
Because-
application.
Yeah, it's on the application, like, have you taken this class? And if you say yes, it's a big help.
Anything else?
How was the food?
You're really on your own.
Yeah.
What's in your backpack is yours. He's not gonna check.
Yeah, and it's really good to coordinate with people ahead of time, like, all right, well, you bring this, I'll bring this, and there's a good bit of that amongst us as well, able to communicate beforehand, figure out who's bringing what.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and he mentioned this before. This isn't a camping trip, it's a backpacking trip. If you've been backpacking, you packed yourself. I mean, you're really packing everything ahead of time. You're self-sufficient. While people will help you, you have to be able to do it on your own.
Everyone but Tom had a big pack. But his was like efficient and like good, not, you know, just small.
You don't need a bunch of fancy gear.
No, you really don't, but everyone else had like, you know, big packs, and his was,
And also Missoula, absolutely awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I've never been there, you're like at the university, so everything's like half-hour walk.
if that.
Yeah, I was like, that's like the farthest thing.
There was actually a Celtic festival everywhere on that weekend.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was great.
When we were there that first weekend, so that's a lot of fun to go to. So even just being in Missoula was a
Great
fun time.
breweries.
You guys tried the cold smoke?
Yeah.
So there were a few places I went to.
Yeah.
It was all I had.
How long is like the entire trip?
It depends.
Yeah, so you're there, like, it starts on a Monday, it goes to Thursday, then you have
2 to
Friday,
4
Saturday,
days.
Saturday, you know, and then it's the next Monday to Wednesday, and then it ends, so.
Okay.
And he wants you there by Sunday afternoon, because there's like in like one of the parks in Missoula, we'll all meet up, and Jack and the other two assistants that come out will, you know, like barbecue for us, we'll discuss the class ahead of time. And so, I mean, it is a little costly, but it's definitely worth it.
What was the presentation that you guys did?
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Literally just had to relate to
Yeah.
others.
I talked
Yeah,
about
I mean,
horses in the
working.
wilderness.
Yeah.
I gave a presentation. It's like 10 minutes long. It's whatever you want to do, but it has to be related to the course. Something you've learned, something.
I sang a song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loves creativity, so if you can sing, yeah. do it.
I dropped a really terrible pun in mine for like a main thesis of it, so I just like, yeah.
And as far as costs and equipment, like, I think, like, I personally would definitely be willing to do, like, to lend / let you borrow certain equipment to, like, just help mitigate, like, even a small stove, you know, that's like one of the least expensive things you might bring, but like. it's
Yeah,
still,
and
like,
I also
$100
didn't-
You're sharing as a
Yeah.
I didn't bring a camp chair, highly recommend if you do.
Oh, yeah.
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 Bring a camp
Bring a picture.
You're sitting on the ground for 3 hours, you can get a little,
Well, yeah.
And also, I know most of these people flew, but we drove. I don't know if I'd do it again, but we
Definitely
did get to go
like
up
the
to
person you're
Glacier.
driving with.
Yeah, we
It's
did
a
get to go up
lot.
to Glacier at the end. Took some time afterwards in Montana, because you do get some time before you go back to school. I don't know if I can recommend it, it depends on the person, but, you know.
I drove too.
Oh, Tom.
Yeah, and if you know if you're going on a road or not.
Yeah, no, it was a fun road trip.
You do have downtime in the middle though, between the two classes. I went to Yellowstone, I went to Glacier.
But the mobility is
Yeah,
nice
you
having
need-
a car out there.
I went to the straight.
But you can kind of split it out of Missoula.
Oh,
Yeah, you can do that.
You leave it on your own.
You come out, like, you get out there like Thursday, like afternoon, and then you're on your own from like Thursday night until, you know, Monday morning.
But you're probably doing reading and work during the period.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would like how your whole weekend
You should explore Missoula.
Yeah.
Definitely go
And
out.
I would say, this is something I said I was going to say to you guys, is read ahead of time if you
Yeah.
have the time.
Yeah.
I never did it because I didn't, but if you don't have a term 3 or you have an internship, just start reading ahead if you know you're going. It really does help.
The syllabus comes out a good amount before the class does, so you can be like, all right, here's the book I need, and then like you can photocopy that, and then here's the readings that they'll put on Twine.
Any questions? I know I'm happy to answer any of the specific ones after this, so thanks.
And I know like the
Good luck.
masters, my email is with Jack and Courtney. If you have like questions specifically for the master's program, you can, you know, probably email me or Kate, and we can help out with that.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.